Welcome back, folks. This is Basir Pirzada, your real estate broker and your mortgage loan broker, all in one-stop shop. So today we are going to talk about the June jobs report, which came out. Projections were 115,000 jobs, non-farm jobs, and the civilian sector, and we came back at 57,000 non-farm jobs created in the June 2026, which is a huge drop versus the projection of 115,000. The jobs that showed the worst decreases in June were leisure and hospitality, down 61,000 jobs, which is understandable. With the higher prices, inflationary pressures, people are spending less on eating out, going to hotels and restaurants and stuff. So the weaker than usual summer hiring was another reason, and a slump in restaurant and hotel payroll was another reason for that. Information technology lost about 9,000 jobs, which is continuing its downward trend. Private education and healthcare or social assistant jobs showed an increase in June of about 69,000 added jobs, and I'll come back to it later in this video, and I'll explain to you what's going on. So social assistance jobs by themselves added about 25,000 jobs in the month of June. Total unemployment came at 4.2% in June, which is pretty much in line with May, because May was at 4.3%, June 4.2%, so not too far off, pretty much in the same line. The tighter immigration policy is causing shortages in healthcare employment numbers, which are down about 600K. So about 600K employees of foreign-born non-US citizen origin have lost their jobs since exactly 12 months ago, and a big percentage of it came from Haiti, Dominican Republic, Mexico, and some other countries. And so they have seen a huge decrease, 600,000 jobs in the last 12 months, and that is correlated to the tighter immigration policies. People work visas are not being renewed and whatnot, and ICE, their unlawful activity that's going on in the country. So let's listen in on how this is impacting the healthcare workers' job force scenario. So let's listen in.
Sharon. Good morning, Becky. Policy changes to restrict immigration into the U.S. are changing the composition of the nation's workforce, particularly in certain industries like healthcare. From January 2025 to April 2026, the number of non-citizen immigrants fell to less than 15 million workers, a decline of 600,000 or 4% in just 15 months. That's according to new analysis by the nonpartisan health policy research group, KFF. Within healthcare, over 3 million workers are immigrants, making up 17% of healthcare workers overall. Yet immigrants account for 30% of long-term care workers. Most immigrant long-term care workers are from Mexico, followed by the Dominican Republic, Philippines, China, Jamaica, and Haiti. Increased immigration enforcement, halts on new visas for people from dozens of countries, and last week's Supreme Court decision to end temporary protected status of Syrian and Haitian immigrants will result in more significant cutbacks, experts say.
Another metric that came up for discussion along with the June jobs report was labor participation force. It came at 61%, its lowest since 5 years ago. So what is labor force participation? So I'll show you a couple of slides. Labor force participation is how many people are actively contributing to the GDP, to the national economy, by being productive, by actually working. So overall, the labor force participation was a 61%. Its lowest since 5 years ago, so I would say June of 2021. But on this chart, you see 61%. But here's an interesting observation that I made, that among Asian population, people who identified themselves as Asians, their labor force participation went up from 63% in June of 2021 to a whopping 66% in June of 2026. So a 3% increase over the last 5 years. So they're going exactly opposite of the national trend. After the June jobs report being weaker than expected, the Fed probability of raising interest rates has dropped significantly, and probability of lowering interest rates at the next Fed meeting have increased to 82%. On this chart that I'm showing on the screen, you can see that it's continuously decreasing the calls for increasing the rates, and the calls for either staying at the same rate or decreasing those calls have increased given the June jobs report. So with that said, guys, please stay tuned. Please like, share, subscribe. And my request, humble request to you is please like and do comments. Do give me comments about the Asian labor force participation model, why it's increased by 3% versus going against the national trend. Are Asians more productive? Are they becoming bigger part of the workforce? So I spent a lot of time in collecting this data. So please like, share, subscribe, and give me feedback and comments. And thank you for watching.